This is my best teams video for Spring Cup, which is a format that we're gonna have around for GPL for about 2 weeks. So let's see what we have going on here, because we're gonna showcase 4 teams in total with their biggest core breakers, with their biggest assets, and of course how you can manipulate each team composition towards your advantage for the best outcome possible. So now, without any further ado, cue the intro. Let's begin today's content now with the first team showcase. Gallara whizzing up in front at the back lantern with Ferrothorn. This team is looking pretty promising, and that's mainly because of overhit on your whizzing. This Pokemon is absolutely insane, able to resist with its poison typing those grass moves, and at the same time can provide some extra coverage against those Pokemon with a simple overhit. Even when you get the first debuff from the overhit, the second one is still gonna hurt down those grass types. So whizzing up in front, definitely a Pokemon that you can always count on. And I really like it up in front because you can clear the debuffs whenever you want. You do not have to wait for the switch timer, so that your Ferrothorn can come in pretty clean here, and of course your backline can protect your whizzing from that Poliwrath threat if you manage to have it up against you. I know Ferrothorn is gonna be a steel type, which is still gonna struggle against those counters, but trust me when I say this, those power whips are still gonna be able to one-shot down that Poliwrath, so you're gonna have the upper hand even against that threat. So at the very end, we're gonna use Lantern, which is a Pokemon pretty weak to those grass types, which are gonna dominate the meta, but pretty good up against anything else. And of course, with your whizzing up in front and your Lantern at the back, you still get coverage for those fire moves, especially something like a Fire Fang Mawile that might exist in the meta. I really like this team composition. It has a lot of synergy, but has only one single core breaker, a Mud Boy up in front. You need to face the Mud Boy with your Ferrothorn, but at the same time, Mud Boys are not gonna be that common around the meta. Only Quagsire might find a little bit of use, but with all those grass types around, I do not think that Mud Boys will dominate the meta or anything. So this team is looking much safer than ever, and that's why I really recommend it to you. Moving forward, and we're meeting up with an Empoleon team. This Pokemon with Steel Wing this season is pretty good actually, and you can always count on it to get to those moves fairly fast. I also really like how well it can manipulate your opponents into baiting with a double Hydro Can, with a double Drill Peck, or just go with the straight Blizzard to obliterate down those grass type Pokemon in a simple one shot. I know that Drill Peck is still gonna do super effective damage, but it is never gonna be enough to one-shot down any grass type Pokemon in the meta, because Drill Peck is not the best move ever in Pokemon Go. So with that said, I still think that Blizzard might actually be the best choice to go with your second move, and also the most unexpected ones, especially when they have some seals remaining into the game and they are not gonna use it on a Blizzard. So at the back we have here an ABB team style with a double grass backline, and I still think that this team has no weakness at all. Anything is gonna be playable. However, on this particular incident, I mess up with that Poliwrath matchup. I throw my Tropius, even though I had to throw in there my Serperior, having an obviously better matchup up against that Poliwrath, but still it is what it is, and we're just gonna fall down miserably to that Pokemon. But overall, I still think that the most notable core breaker for this team is going to be that amazing Shadow Mawile, because with those Farfangs, it can always farm down those grass types in no time at all. Even Ferrothorn is gonna get destroyed down by that Pokemon, and now without Waterfall on your Penguin up in front, perhaps you are still gonna struggle with those Steel Wings up against the Mawile. So Mawile definitely a notable core breaker for this team, but other than that, I do not think you're gonna find yourself in a difficult position that you cannot overcome, at least, because you might lose sometimes, but those losses are even gonna be pretty soft, pretty close, that you can definitely take advantage of. With that said, now let's move forward into team showcase number 3. we have now another ABB team style, and this time with a double water at the back, having the grass type up in front. Do you remember Empoleon from the previous team composition that was a leader? Well, right here it is gonna be used, but as a core breaker for this team. That's mainly because whatever we're gonna throw with our backline, it is still gonna be resisted, while our main Pokemon to destroy down that Empoleon is going to be Trevenant, and it is not the best ever out there, because Empoleon might be glassy, but still those drill pecks are gonna add up in damage in combination with those steel wings and eventually finish off our Trevenant up in front. So a notable core breaker is gonna be Empoleon, but other than that, nothing else. Let's see what we have here going on, because Trevenant is gonna be an amazing option overall. I really like it as a pure generalist against the entire meta. Doesn't have any weird matchup out there. Everything is gonna be a soft win or a soft loss for you, and I really like it as a lead option for this team. At the back, we can always count on our Tentacruel as a safe switch, coming in with one of the strongest charge attacks in the entire game of Pokemon Go and perhaps Great League of Go Battle League, with Scald, able to deal a lot of damage and at the same time get the chance for a debuff over your opponents. At any different format of Go Battle League, I would recommend going for the Blizzard, but right here with all those grass types and perhaps other water types, you need to use your Sludge Wave for neutral damage, or super effective for those grass types. So as a closing part, I really like Cilio here over Walrein due to its ability to get to those body slams much faster. So at the same time, you got a nice move for that Aurora Beam being super effective to those grass types, or just use it for some extra damage to whatever else you feel like you have to, because this team is looking pretty strong as it is as an ABB team style. Feel free to rotate around your Tentacruel a lot, and you're gonna see that massive success is gonna be waiting for you. This is the final team showcase for today's content, and we can use a Golisopod in this meta pretty effectively, so that's why we're gonna do it on the next team showcase. At the same time though, we're getting severely weak to those lanterns, and that's mainly because of Pelipper. Hopefully though, we got a Venusaur on our team which is gonna perform pretty well against those water types, and of course able to wall down completely that lantern is gonna give us the edge over that Pokemon. However, whenever you have this lantern up in front, I would recommend to go ahead and stay in there with your Golisopod. Do whatever you can with those X Scissors, because you will be surprised about how much damage you can do with Golisopod even when you're facing something like a lantern. X Scissor is a move that is gonna do so much damage when they're coming back to back in combination with your Shadow Claw damage, and of course eventually on the one shot scenario, if your opponent gets a little bit too greedy and doesn't throw even the Thunderbolt, you manage to get the knockout. So this is a playable matchup for your Golisopod. At the back, you need to avoid that lantern matchup with your Pelipper at all costs, while your Venusaur is gonna be the main way to finish off that water type Pokemon. With that said, this team is looking pretty strong, and unlike the previous team compositions that we were having ABB team styles, this time we're gonna use an ABA team style. And even though I end up messing up with this battle, I still think that this team has a lot to offer. We were just one Hurricane away from winning, but my opponent of course took advantage of that and absolutely punished me for that bad call. So overall, this team is a very good one. I really recommend to you. I think that has a lot to offer on the entire meta, and of course at the same time it is gonna be kinda spicy with both Pelipper and Golisopod kinda off meta Pokemon to the entire meta of Spring Cup. So that is gonna be all for today, trainers. Thank you for watching and for sticking around till the end. It really means a lot for this channel. Leave a like before you go, subscribe to my content, and of course over here I have 2 more videos for you to check out. Feel free to check them out, and I will catch you up later into the next one.